Hey everybody, it's Nathan Harewood, Dominate the Stage, Nate's Beef time. Now, it's been a long time. It's not because I had nothing to say. It's because I didn't even know where to start, but there's something that just tipped me off today when someone asked me a question, and you know what? I'm like, you know what? It's time. It's time. Today we're going to talk about the squeam, aka squeam training, waist training, corset training. It is one thing that is absolutely blow my mind on how many people, and I mean it's not only with squeam, it's so many things. When people research things, they research how to lose weight with A, B, or C, or waist training with A, B, or C. They never actually research the negative effects. I'm more of a person that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to research the negative and the side effects and what it can do to me. Therefore, I'm fully informed that if the side effects happen or I see signs of the side effects, then I know it's time for me to stop. And if you spend more time in looking into the negative, and I hate to use the word negative, but you have to accept it with a risk, because when it comes to squeam training and many other things and fads in the fitness life, there is a risk to it. If you're willing to accept the risk, then if it happens to you, accept the blame. But a lot of people don't look into the risks, and if something happens to them, they use that finger of blame to point out instead of saying, you know what, I should have done more research. Enough about that, and let's talk about the squeam. Now, you have to think about, there's people that back in the day, they went and had an 18-inch waist, and they went like this, and they had, 34, 18, 26, whatever it was, and they were like, wow, that's so amazing. Yeah, on the outside. But what does it do to the inside? What is it causing to do that the body's able to actually hold that form while in the squeam or in the corset and allow it to happen? Well, one thing you have to realize, it takes taxes and tolls onto the digestive tract. So when you push in, it can actually cause a stifling in the digestive system or the large intestines, and actually stop your body from able to digest foods as well. Speaking of digesting food, what else can it do? It can actually push into your bowels and into your bladder. Now, if you're putting more pressure into your bowels or into your colon, into your bladder, there are more side effects that I don't even want to get into. That is a high risk of using squeam or Spanx or corset training. Getting into that, look what happened also pushing into your stomach. Again, it's going to push the organs up. If you're pushing into your stomach, it's going to cause acid reflux, or may cause acid reflux. What that's going to do is you can start getting more problems, and acid reflux is never comfortable, and it's actually going to cause possible burning of your esophagus. But again, it's just to get that pretend smaller waist for that temporary fix until they stop using the squeam or the corset training and they go back to regular life. And they're like, oh my God, I still have, acid reflux. I've had all these side effects. But let's talk about another one. Nerve pain. Now, if anybody's ever had sciatic or their peripheral nerve pinched, it's excruciating. What can actually happen is when you're pushing in and you're actually causing your organs to move up and down and tension into your vertebrae, you can actually cause a temporary pinched nerve, or you can actually cause permanent nerve damage, where people are finding, they're getting numb bum, or they're getting, pains down their hamstrings, or their whole legs are actually going numb, and it's actually lasting for a long-term side effect. Again, these are their long-term side effects or dangerous side effects just for a temporary fix. Now, what happens if you're broken an arm or you've broken a wrist or a leg, if you put it in a cast, you're going to lose all that muscle. It's the same thing when people are training for 4 to 6. Some people sleep, 10 hours with these things. What is actually happening is it's taking over for all your core muscles. Your core muscles are becoming weaker. So when everybody's working around into beast mode, getting all crazy, and they're lifting all their weights, their core is actually weakened. So it's not able to handle the intensity that they're trying to train at. And then they slip a disc, or they hurt something, or they get hernia, but then they don't know what it is. They blame it on their trainer, or they blame it on squats or the exercise, but they haven't realized that they've been weakening their core. I've heard a person say, well, I'm just going to train my core heavier so then I can do squeam training. Your abdominals and your core is a muscle. If you train with more weight is actually going to thicken your midsection. It may look better, but you're actually going to get a thicker midsection. So you train all that weight, and then you put a squeam on, you're actually stopping that muscle from growing. So you're spinning your tires. You're not getting better in the waist. You're not getting better in the core strength. So you're actually not doing anything for yourself, but maybe looking good in that nice little selfie from that upward angle where everybody looks leaner. But hey, that's your thing. Also, what you have to realize is the transverse abdominis, or that little sheath that keeps your abs flat, if that isn't trained, so when you're doing your squats and your deadlifts or other exercises, you're actually pushing out. If that wall becomes weak, or when women get weak, that transverse abdominis stretches, is actually going to make you bigger in the midsection. So this will actually stop your transverse abdominis from working and can potentially make you thicker. So when you're in bloated, or you're from that cheat meal that you ate too much, or whatever you want to call it, you're actually going to be more bloated and thicker in the midsection. So if you want to get a small waist, why don't you try doing it the permanent way? Do transverse abdominis exercises. Don't train your core with such heavy weight. Why don't you work on exactly postural exercises? So therefore, if you stand up taller, your waist is going to look thinner. If you're genetically going to have a thick waist, a squeam or a corset isn't going to change that. It's going to be temporary, but I'm going to ask you what's going to happen if you stop using that squeam 6 months to a year later. There's a chance that you might end up thicker. Have I used the squeam with clients before? Yeah, I've tried it. But it was just to prove a point as well that it's not there. I'm not going to go ahead and say I don't believe in something that I haven't tried before and put myself or someone through and use that as an example. So if you want to get better and you want to train harder, train your muscles, and don't go for the quick fix, little fad in media saying, hey, you know what, do this and you get a small waist like me. Train hard, do it right, go for permanent results. Nate's Beef, out.